Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Toria.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. So, it was a sad day today.
Why was today a sad day?
Well, we had another OG member of the zoo passed away today.
No, the zoo is getting slowly less original.
Yeah, it really is.
He's the OG.
Yes, he was, huh? He was the oldest
animal in the house.
Henry.
Poor Henry.
And now, the oldest animal in the house is officially Ozzy.
Yep.
Henry today. So, I have this thing. I have like a, what do you call it? A shop vac. Like a little small shop vac. And I use it to vacuum up, because we use fleece for our guinea pigs. And so, I vacuum up their crap using the shop vac. And it's really functional. It works really well. And Henry has this thing that he always does with me, or did with me, I guess I should say now, where he would hide in his little house. He'd always hide in the little purple house. And then he'd hear that, and he'd come poking his head out. And then he'd act like he was afraid, and he'd run to the other side and run all the way back, and then he'd get to the hose of the vacuum and like sniff it. And then as soon as like your hand would move in his direction, he would run back in the corner and run back to the hose. And he had like this game that he would play where he'd run away and come back. Run away and come back. Well, go in there to clean today, and I turned the thing on. I'm
Henry didn't really want to play.
Henry didn't come out and play. He must be really hot, that poor thing. And I see the purple house, and I can see that there's a Henry inside there. And I open it up, and he's laying on his side. And I'm like, well, I've learned from Miss O that I got to make sure that they're not dead. So I take the house, and I like prod him a little bit. And I'm like, Henry? And then I immediately said, oh, no, Henry's dead. And then I poked him again, hoping that I could say, never mind, just kidding, he's alive.
I was waiting for it. I thought you were messing with me.
And he didn't move. So then I said one more time, Henry? When he didn't move, I was like, no, he's really dead. Get me a bag for Henry, he's dead. Oh, it was the worst. Makes me so sad because that little dude got me through so many lonely days where I was just by myself and no one was talking to me and whatever. And the midgets would be with their mom. There I was.
It was just you and your pig.
Sitting with my
TV.
pig, watching TV. It was crazy. But it's what I had. That was
Poor
my
Henry.
thing. You know? He was my pet. And it's really, really like, I was shocked when Chip went.
But we expected it. We saw Chip the day before.
But I was shocked at how young he was, and he didn't make it much further.
We saw Chip the day before, and his eyes were all dull and all sunken in. We were like, this pig, he's not long for this world. And
but
the
isn't
next
it
morning,
true that those two are like were like 3 years old? Like, wouldn't Finn be about 3 years old right now?
4.
4 years
We got
old?
them not long after I moved here, and I've lived here for almost 5 years.
Wow. You know what that means? He or Ozzy could kick the bucket at any time.
I know. I don't think that we're going to have any pigs by the time 2021 rolls around. I think 2020 will have killed all 4 of our guinea pigs,
Chip
too.
actually lived about as long as you would expect a healthy guinea pig to live.
Yeah.
And Henry lived longer than you would expect a healthy guinea pig to live. And I'm going to tell you why I think Henry lived longer. I think it's because Henry was sweeter than all the rest. He had just a I want to love you kind of attitude. And he was super friendly. Yeah, we would laugh because towards the end he was kind of blind, and you'd bring him vegetables.
And he would bite you instead of the
vegetable. He'd bite you
vegetable.
instead of the vegetable, but he didn't mean to. But that's what would happen. And it was cute and funny at the same time. But he just was just so sweet. And that like put him in a different place. as far as animals go. It's just such a good pig. I loved that pig. But I think what contributed to the dang thing is this heat wave we've been going through.
I think so too.
I think his little heart couldn't handle the change in the temperature.
He was just too old.
It's so sad.
Too
But
old
see,
for the heat wave.
that's
Fuck
what's
you, heat wave.
But see, that's what scares me. Like with them trying to convince people now to wear masks in their house. That scares me in a heat wave. And this has been a bad heat wave.
Yeah, it's awful.
We came
Air
close to
conditioning's
100
not cool in the
today.
house. I think it hit 100 today in Cerritos, so near.
Do you think the filter needs to be cleaned on that or something?
No, I don't. I think it just can't handle dropping the temperature by 40 degrees, which is what we're trying to make it do.
It's hard in a room that's this size.
Uh-huh.
Because you have this super tall ceiling. And, of course, we're at the top, so all the heat rises up to where we are.
Yep.
But that's okay. We'll
At
survive.
least it has some space to go up there. We have very high ceilings in our living room, for anybody who didn't know.
Yes, it's super tall. I'll try to get a picture of it.
Since we've had absolutely nobody over to our new house because, pandemic.
Yeah, pandemic. But here we are. It's been like, we knew it was going to be hot. And so we planned to book the pool
Yeah.
and just us go. And I wonder sometimes if that bothers her or anything. But you know what? It was just the people who were living here. We went there.
Technically, that's the rule.
And
Technically, we
it's
violated
the rule,
when
and
she came
yes,
with us.
yes, but the point is sometimes it's just the people that live here. It's choices that we make, and that's just how it is. So, whatever. But this heat wave, we knew it was coming, and it was like pretty mild, I would say, on Saturday. Pretty mild.
Yeah, we thought it was bad on Saturday, but it wasn't.
It was like mid 80s. It wasn't bad. It was warm, but it wasn't bad. But the problem was that it was super humid. Like it was mid 80s and like 70% humidity. It was crazy humid. Like you felt like you were drinking the oxygen. It was bad. And then Sunday, it kind of kicked up a little bit, but
Do you not remember Sunday night? It was awful.
Yes. But Sunday, what happened in Sunday was it got hot earlier and then just stayed hot all day.
Yeah, and now it hasn't cooled off since then.
And yeah, it's kind of been hot since then. It's been in these high, mid to high 90s the entire time.
And it's not supposed to stop for more than a week.
Yeah.
So we're fucked.
It's super hot. Well,
Let's have an unreasonable heat wave where the state of California keeps shutting off people's electricity because they're cocksuckers and can't plan for this shit.
I agree with you
In the
on
middle
that.
of a pandemic, when every son of a bitch out there is stuck in their house.
I agree with you on that, but I even gave some thought to each of us having our own fan. One here, one over there.
You could just grab the one from the bedroom and bring it down.
But, I was trying to avoid that as a possibility.
Then your fan's going to have to be that one over there on the table.
No, I was thinking about getting us a new fan.
Oh.
3 new fans. One here, and one there. 3 new fans. Because these fans, the circular ones, I don't care what anyone says, they slow down as they get old.
Oh, well, by a lot. You can tell which fans are the old ones and which ones are the new ones. This one in front of me right now blows twice as hard as the one on the table over there.
Yeah, and the one in Mitchell's room is kind of meh.
Yeah, well.
So, I'm thinking about it. Because those were like in the $30 range.
They're currently $22 at Walmart.
Oh, that's $60, as I say, $70. That's not so bad. We'll talk about that off the air. But I think that there's ways to cool ourselves off faster. And like the other day, like today wasn't as great. But the other day, like over the weekend when I was working on Saturday, just pointing the fan right at me kept me comfortable.
Well,
So
good
that
for you.
means I can handle mid 80s with high humidity with just a fan.
Okay.
The question is, can I handle like where it's at right now with just a fan? And today didn't seem to work.
No.
I was dying up there.
Yeah, I'm just going to work down here tomorrow, I think. Well, no, I have stuff to do upstairs, but...
I stayed and did what I needed to do there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was hot. It was super freaking hot. So I don't know. Now tomorrow we get Mitchell back.
Yeah.
And then he's only here tomorrow and Thursday, and then he's gone for the week.
Right.
I always hate that
He
one.
gets to hang out at the house that doesn't use the air conditioning.
Yeah. I always hate that one.
Yeah, it's the week you complain about all the time.
What?
This is the week you complain about all the time.
This is the one that's effed up and messed up. Shouldn't be the way it is, but whatever. We're stuck with it, for another year or so. But hey, kid started school during the heat wave. Yay, kid.
Yay, kid.
It's the last one to go through, at least that we know of. Yeah, he's the last one. He is doing crazy good in school. I'm very proud of him. And I have a feeling that he might do better than sister, who was just ahead of him.
Don't tell her that. She'll lose her mind.
Nah, there's nothing she can do. She kind of phoned it in, ninth grade. She kind of phoned it in. Took it easy. That was the one when I kept asking her to have you broken out that AP book yet? Have you broken out that AP book?
Oh, I
yet?
remember.
And if you remember, she studied
that was 10th grade, though. She didn't take an AP class in 9th grade.
Okay, but she studied that, but she was still phoning it in at this point. She studied like 2 weeks before that. Remember?
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until 11th grade.
It was failing that AP test that really
Yep.
motivated
When
her.
she hit 11th grade, she was like, okay, I'm going to study my butt off. And she did. She studied hard. That girl studied hard all the way from there till the end. But imagine had she done what he's done, which is study the first 2 years really hard. He's got a super high GPA.
Hasn't studied hard.
He studied hard enough to get a greater than a 4.0 GPA. His unweighted GPA is 3.9. Unweighted.
He didn't study for the AP test and got a 5.
Yeah, he's smart.
I'm telling you, he's getting great grades, but he's not studying hard.
All right, I see the distinction you're making there. And you're absolutely right. I misused the term studying hard. I should have said he studied successfully.
There you go.
Because studying successfully could mean I'm going to spend 0 minutes and I'm still going to get a 5.
Yep, pretty much.
And everything
He's
in
studying
between.
exactly the correct amount for how to get.
Yeah, because if you come out with a 5 after saying you're going to get a 5 by doing what you did, then that way worked.
Yeah.
I mean, his thing could have been to eat Fritos with every single time he studied. And that's how he got a 5. Whatever. It doesn't matter what your reason is, as long as it works. That's what it comes down to, as long as it works. To me, the results of that situation matter way more than how you approached it.
Yep.
So, you're telling me we got another few days of this crazy heat, huh?
I didn't say few. I said at least a week.
Well, I feel bad for the kid because he's going to be over at mom's, Maybe we should try
Hey,
to...
at least his bedroom gets air conditioning at his mom.
But maybe we should see if she's working on either of the days, and whichever one she's not working on, invite them to come over
Oh, and use the pool again?
and use the pool.
Whatever.
Might be a nice thing to do for them just to kind of help them cool off,
Uh-huh.
Because it has to be hot. So we'll figure that out. But one thing that I'm noticing, and you kind of brought it to my attention just now, is the animals are acting so weird in this heat wave. And by weird, yeah, obviously they're feeling the heat and they're laying where things they normally don't lay. But I don't mean that. What I mean is they still, like Yogi, he loves to lay in the sun. So he goes and lays in the sun, even though it's 10 million degrees.
And then he comes out and he's panting his dumb little ass off and like 3,000 degrees and pacing around going, oh my God, it's so hot. Why is it so hot?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
And it's because he's a dumb shit and fell asleep in the sun for 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I just want to kick him sometimes.
He's...
Like Yog Dog. Why are you so dumb sometimes?
Yeah, he's an interesting animal. But then there's Jazzy. He does the same thing. And he's black. Like all of his fur is pitch black. And he's just like a heat retainer. And he goes and lays in the sun. And then he does the same thing. He comes out and he lays over here on the cement. And his little tongue is out.
What a stupid ass cat.
I'm like,
He's so
you're
dumb.
as dumb as the Yog Dog. Like the both of them. And it kind of
They're
makes sense
so
because they
dumb.
both kind of have the same attitude. Yogi is to dogs what Jasper is to cats. I mean,
Also, they
just
both
are.
love flies or hate them.
Yes, they're
I think
mighty
it's
hunters.
love because they seem so happy while they chase them around the house.
They love to hunt the flies. That's what they love to do. But it's weird. Like the whole zoo, they're acting differently. And I'm telling you, we lost Henry because of the heat. It didn't get this hot. I think Henry would have lasted a few more months.
Probably. But like I said,
But he's on his way. He was on his way out for sure. Sadly,
he didn't have any hair left on his eyes.
Yeah, he was.
Like,
I mean, that was a healthy pig, though. Like that pig lived 6 years, and actually longer than 6 years because he was, I don't know, a few months old when I got him.
you got him at the beginning of 2014. So yeah,
So it's like that's
almost
an old
7
6.5 pigs,
years.
6.5 years, not 6.5 pigs. That's funny.
6.5
6.5 years old. He was an old boy, man. Like he lived.
I think
he was
if
healthy.
he would have made it to like November, he would have been a 7-year-old pig.
You know what made him so healthy?
What?
He loved hay. He ate more Timothy hay than pellets. And I've read that if you can teach your guinea pig to do that, they will be much healthier and happier. And that was Henry. You could have stuck the entire bale in there and he would have just sat there and eaten the hay the whole time.
I know. I remember. Do you remember when we gave Henry the hay pile and Henry climbed into the hay pile?
Yes, and ate
he
his
made
way
a
through it.
hole in it and he sat inside the hay pile pooping while eating
While
and then got
chowing.
mad that his hay had poo in it.
Yeah.
That was Henry.
Yeah.
He was a shithead.
He had the best personality, though. Like, that little piggy had the best personality. He was just cute. He would, when I was all by myself, she'd be busy doing something with her parents, and I'd lay on the bed, and I'd turn on, like, Netflix, or I think at the time I was actually, like, watching, like, live football or something. And I'd lay down, and I'd have a towel on my chest, and I'd put Henry on the towel.
Because
and
Henry would pee on you.
And he would pee and he'd poo like a crazy monster. And so it would go on the towel, but he would sit there and make his little sounds. All the time, non-stop, making that noise. And then all of a sudden he'd purr. And he would purr like a lunatic. And sometimes if you got him under the chin, when he was younger, he didn't do it so much when he was older, but when he was younger, you get him under the chin and he wouldn't stop purring. It was like a button. You just hit it and he'd purr, and then he'd stop and he'd stop purring, and then hit it again and he'd purr. It was so cute.
Do you realize the 2 pigs that we have left are the assaulters?
But Ozzy's become a very nice piggy. He has.
Yeah, when he got his ass kicked by the little guys when we moved them in together.
Hey, whatever it took, man. And Finn, he's not even as bad as Ozzy was.
No, he's not. But they're the rapey pigs are left. The
They're
ones that
getting
like to
along.
run around and hump each other.
They're getting along. There'll be less poop for me to vacuum up now.
Probably at least 2/3 less. Yes, Henry was the shit machine because he ate so much hay.
He could shit like crazy, that pig. But he was just such a lover. He would come to the edge of the cage and look at me while I was working. I'm going to miss that.
Yep.
I'm going to miss him a lot. So, Henry, my boy, you are resting quietly now, buddy.
Yep.
Thanks for everything you did. You were a great pet.
Good night, little Henry.
Hasta la bye-bye, Henry. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.